Okay, so hello guys. Long time no see, or long time no speak. I've been away for a while, but to be honest, I've been trying to sort my life out, but I'm trying to get more consistent with this YouTube thing. I'm definitely gonna try and stay more consistent with it, so please bear with. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. We have this video here. It's just a quick video about something called the Jacobite Gleanings. So let me scroll all the way to the top. Just this thing called Jacobite Gleanings. Just this book I came across a while ago, and I just wanted to make a quick video on it. Jacobite Gleanings from State Manuscript Short Sketches of Jacobites of Transportation in 1745 by J. Macbeth Forbes. So this is in line with a lot of the content that I usually make. Just historical stuff, biblical stuff, all kinds of stuff, to be honest. But this is something that, to be perfectly honest, is important for the descendants of the 12 tribes. So, descendants of Jacob, at the Bible, or Israel as he was also referred to know, and a lot of the black people that are in the quote-unquote black people, because black technically isn't a race, it's just a designation. The word race goes back to the Latin or the Spanish word raza, which basically means seed. So your race is your seed, and the seed is determined from the father. So you are what your father is, basically. But anyway, this is just something to do with the Jacobites, a short video to do with the Jacobites. But first, we need to understand who the Jacobites were, and a little bit of context. So the Jacobite rebellions, so the Jacobites were basically followers of the Stuart dynasty that was ruling in Britain at the time. So as you can see, it was sent by Charles Edward Stuart to regain the British throne for his father, who was James II. So James II was a son of Charles I, the little brother of Charles II Stuart, both kings of England, and they were both the son of James. Charles I was the son of James I, who was a Stuart from Scotland, James I of England or the United Kingdom, and James VI of Scotland. Obviously, after Elizabeth I's death, she didn't have any children, so I believe they were second cousins. So James I came from Scotland to rule England, and then United Kingdom or Great Britain. I can't remember which one it was technically referred to. Nonetheless, James I ruled. He died and obviously went to his son. And then during the rule of his son Charles I, there was a man called Oliver Cromwell, and I believe it was a time period called the Great Restoration, where Oliver Cromwell basically was the Lord Protector of the Great Britain, and he ruled instead of Charles I, who was in hiding and fled. He came back and he was executed, I believe. Oliver Cromwell was then defeated, and then it goes to Charles II. Charles II didn't have any legitimate children. He had a multitude of children by a bunch of mistresses, basically. But his actual wife, I believe, was a Portuguese woman called Maria of Braganza. I believe that's her name, Maria or Catherine. Can't remember off the top of my head now. A lot of this is just, stored in the back, stored in the memory bank. But he didn't have any children, so obviously it went to his little brother, James II. Now, James II was a Protestant, and obviously he had a bunch of children by a Protestant woman called Anne Hyde, I believe her name was, and he had the future queens, Queen Mary II and Queen Anne. But then what happened was James II turned to Catholicism. He converted to Catholicism, and then after his rule. I believe he abdicated. So he abdicated because he was Catholic, and then the rule went down to his daughter married a second, who married William, who was a stadholder of Orange, which is a place in the Netherlands or Holland. Stadholder basically is like a steward, so basically a steward or a caretaker, basically. I believe they didn't have any children, so it went down to Queen Anne, who was obviously the daughter of James II. She didn't have any children that survived until adulthood, unfortunately for her. Well, unfortunately in general. So then it went to her second cousin in Germany, Prince George, I believe it is. George was from the House of Hanover, and then you have the House of Hanover coming over: George I, George II, George III, George IV, William IV, Queen Victoria, and then anyway. So basically, that's just a little bit of context, but we just want to talk about the Jacobite Gleanings. So now, the Jacobite Gleanings was basically, well, the Jacobite Rebellion, sorry, not Jacobite Gleanings. Well, the Jacobite Rising was basically a 45-year rebellion to try and restore the House of Stuart on the throne of Great Britain. The throne of Great Britain instead of the House of Hanover. Now, ultimately, it was fought by this guy called Charles Edward Stuart, who was the son of Charles Francis Stuart, and he was the son of James II, but James II's son by the wife he had after he converted to Catholicism. So they didn't want a Catholic on the throne because the country, well, Great Britain at that time was a Protestant state, or still is, to be fair. But they basically didn't want a Catholic on the throne. And what happened was, a lot of the Scottish people in the Scottish Highlands, this place here, which is just the north of Scotland, basically. The Scottish Highlands were supporters of the House of Stuart, because the House of Stuart originally was from Scotland. We're going to go into the history of the House of Stuart one video, definitely, because they're people that originally came from France. They were, I believe, some of the people that came when William the Conqueror invaded England during the Battle of Hastings. So in the years after that, the years succeeding that, a lot of the French aristocracy went to England, Scotland, and a lot of those French aristocracy, or the Normans as they were called, they were descendants of Frankish people, and the Franks were Celts, and the Celts were, well, the Celts were Israelites, but again, that's another video. Nonetheless, a lot of the people in the Scottish Highlands, were obviously supporters of the House of Stuart. But what happened was, ultimately, they were defeated by the English, or the British government, and a lot of them were transported to the Caribbean, Canada, the United States, etc. And a lot of these people, well, if they're around today, they'd be called black. So this is where we get the Jacobite Gleanings from. So, Jacobite Gleanings from State Manuscript Short Sketches of Jacobites to Transportation in 1745. This is obviously after the time that they lost, and then a lot of them got sent. So, here we have some descriptions of what these people look like. So let me just read an exact list and description of 150 rebel prisoners shipped at Liverpool on board the Veteran. Liverpool, obviously being in England, and then the Veteran is the name of the ship. John Ricky, Master, for the Leeward Islands, which were taken near Antigua the 25th of June last by the Diamond Privateer Paul Marshall Commander and carried into Martinico the 30th of June 1747. So obviously this is just saying that they're taking a bunch of prisoners of war, people in Scotland or in the United Kingdom that fought on the side of the Jacobites, that fought for the restoration of the House of Stuart on the throne of Great Britain, and taking them to the Leeward Islands, which I believe is near Canada or in the Caribbean. And we're just going to get some physical descriptions of what these people look like. So, Robert Adam, 18 years old, labourer, Stirling, 5'1", brown, smooth-faced. This is what he looked like, guys. Remarks: William Bell, 46, weaver, Berwick, 5'4", black, curled hair, strong, made. Dougal Campbell, 18, servant, Lochaber. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but you know. 5'4", brown, complexion, well-made, ruddy. Now that word ruddy is a word that's used a lot in older times or olden times. It's not as used as much now, but the word ruddy basically means reddish brown. Nowadays they lie and basically say that ruddy means somebody that is, let's just put ruddy complexion, somebody that is white with red cheeks, but that's not true. These are the images that you'll see come up when you see ruddy. But if you see a ruddy cow is brown, reddish brown, I'm just going to put ruddy animals. See, duck is reddish brown. Duck is reddish brown, but for humans, see, this is very dark brown. This is ruddy duck, but for humans, or for people, it's a white person with red cheeks. This isn't the case. This is what someone that's ruddy looks like. So this is what a lot of these people that were kicked out of Scotland or kicked out of the UK and taken and dumped, basically dumped in the Caribbean, in North America, in South America, in islands just off the coast of the United States or Canada. This is what a lot of these people look like. So Dougal Campbell, Alex Campbell, labourer, Inverness, 5'4", D.O. D.O. in this case just means ditto, which means the same. Pot-picketed. I believe pot-picketed means spotty. I believe. Let me just look at the definition of that word. Define pot-picketed. Yeah, mark, pit or scar caused by smallpox or acne. Yeah, so it's just acne scarring, basically, severe acne scarring. But another word that I wanted to come across is John Campbell, 20, ditto. So he was a labourer as well. Argyle, 5'2", ditto. So he was brown as well. And swarthy, another word that is used a lot of the times in the Middle Ages, but now isn't used. So swarthy, dark complexioned. Swarthy means dark complexions. If you are tall, dark and handsome, you find a swarthy complexion attractive. Of skin color, complexion, dark or darkish, swarthy. It's also where the German word Schwarz comes from, which basically means black. So the word swarthy means black. So these people, that was just something else then. These people, all these people were black people. So all these people were black, but they were in Scotland at the time. So we need to investigate why. So the question is, why were all these people that were black, that were allegedly just from African tribes, from the west coast of Africa, why did they all have Scottish surnames, and why were they in Scotland? That's the question.